Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the desire for success, the sadness of not reaching your full potential, how all of that ties into authenticity, and how we should not feel guilty about wanting more for ourselves, yet at the same time not being so consumed by it. So it's a heavy topic, so sit down, go get your coffee if you're still waking up with me, or go get some tea and cozy up, because this is going to be a discussion. Okay, so let's get into it. Success. Like, what is success? Of course, there's a plethora of definitions out there, right? What it looks like to me could be different from what it looks like to you, but I think as a collective, we all kind of have a general consensus that success has to associate with some sort of accumulation of resources, plural. For most of them, it's monetary wealth, right? For others, it's property. And for some other people, it could be cars or Pokemon cards. You know, like it ranges from like this to that. To a farmer, success is more cattle, right? Now, you can say, well, you have to buy cattle, right? So in order to be successful with, acquiring more cattle, you need to be successful monetarily so you can use that money to purchase your goods, right? But there is a way that you can just breed them, right? You can just start off with 2, male, female, breed them, and, work hard, make sure the cows are healthy, and you can achieve success that way. Now, there's like several different ways on going about achieving success, right? One of the main important ways for me is not defamating the integrity of my character to achieve it. So what that means is I am not going to step out of alignment with my beliefs in order to achieve resources that I desire. I would rather be structurally sound in my being than to lose who I am and gain the resources that I desire. The best way for me to achieve success is to remain authentic, hold tight to my beliefs, yet at the same time accumulate my resources. Okay. But there comes a time in life where it's kind of funny, like people who are not so tapped in and on the path of progression towards what they want to achieve, you'll notice them fall into a few different categories of illnesses. Is that the word? I don't want to define it as illnesses. A few different categories of ways of being, okay? Sometimes to the point of an identity shift. What are those ways of being? You know, if somebody is not doing what they need to do to progress towards their desired vision, they will be sad. And if they're sad for too long, then they can be considered depressed. And I don't mean to put it in quotation marks, but I'm trying to tackle the root of the issue here and be precise about it. And I don't want to use like general terms and labels, but I think you know what I mean. So when you are sad for a prolonged period of time, you start to identify yourself as that, right? When really, and this might be controversial, but I'm not the first one to say it. You have the choice, right? You have the choice. Like, I don't think you would be sad or depressed if you were doing what you need to do on a daily basis to achieve the vision that you have set out for yourself. Okay, so the cost of not taking steps to reach your full potential is a identity shift, right? You have to shift your identity to be in acceptance with not reaching your full potential. You have to become a person who's okay with that. And that's okay to some, and that's not okay to most. Most people want success, and success is not an easy task. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices, discipline, and steps that you need to take on a daily basis, and habits that you need to cultivate in order to inch you closer and closer to that goal. And because that is difficult, we choose not to, and that causes us to fall short and be sad or nervous or fearful, anxious about ourselves and our lives, because we're not living in alignment with who we're really trying to be, who our higher selves are pulling us to be. So, how does all that tie into authenticity? I think your authentic self is your highest frequency, and your highest frequency in your most authentic self wants to reach its full potential. And when you are not living in the frequency of authenticity, success and potential is tainted. You could achieve it, yes, by performing and not being who you are, but it's not going to have the same effect as if you were to do it by remaining true to yourself. Now, here comes the last point, which is, how am I supposed to feel good about wanting to be successful when practically World War III is going on? Fair question, but what else do you do, right? And success has different meanings, right? So one of my favorite quotes, and this is a hadith by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said that if the day of judgment was unfolding before your eyes, right? If the day of resurrection, right, doomsday, was unfolding before your eyes, and you have a seed in your hand, and you were going to plant it with the intention of, continuing to progress, and you see doomsday happening, take the seed and plant it anyway, right? Just because something is going on, it doesn't mean you should stop what you're doing. It doesn't put a stop to your plans. It doesn't halt your dreams, your progression. Because I see a lot of people, like if you look through the comment section, you'll get a pulse on society instantly, right? Society right now is just silly. Read through any comment section of anything on social media. Everybody's fed up. Nobody's taking anything seriously. Everything is just kind of a joke now, right? So, you'll see people saying something like, like it'd be a video of like missiles being dropped in a country. And then you'll see somebody say, and we still have to go to work tomorrow. Yes, you still have to go to work tomorrow because, although what's happening is not ideal, it's quite disheartening actually. It doesn't mean you get a way out, right? It doesn't mean you get to stop fighting. So, if anything, you should let that motivate you to work harder, be more disciplined, progress towards your dreams. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. Yeah. Have a good day, guys.